Well, welcome back to our cabinet series for another segment.
Well, I'm enjoying being here.
Yeah, it's been really fun. Gosh, we started off with that initial appointment and worked our way all the way through some installation thoughts. We know by now there's a lot of things to think about, a lot of details, a lot of things people are unaware of. So I would just touch on a few of those. In that very initial appointment, talk about people bringing you some rough measurements. What could go wrong with a measure and cause challenges?
Well, some of the issues are revolve around appliances. For example, what's becoming one of the standard size refrigerators today is something that's 36 inches wide. And so you can provide a space that's 36 inches wide. The refrigerator will fit in there. But if you read the fine print, a lot of refrigerators today require an additional 2 to 3 inches to be able to get the doors open. So if you're putting your refrigerator tied up against a wall,
with a counter coming out full depth situation?
Correct. You could end up not being able to open the doors of your refrigerator fully and not be able to take out the vegetable trays. And this is where your designer needs to say, well, yes, your refrigerator is 36 inches wide, but you actually need 39 inches of space to be able to make this work.
So that's where that expertise of using an experienced designer. Could you just could somebody supply measurements that were just too tight in general and cause challenge on the overall design?
It's another issue that, again, your designer's experience comes into play here. Because, as we discussed in a previous section, that walls are never absolutely vertical or plumb. They're either going to be tipping in or tipping out. If you're doing especially frameless cabinetry, where the doors cover the entire face of the cabinet, if your wall tips in at all, you're not going to be able to open your drawers. You're not going to be able to open your doors because it'll interfere. So you have to account for that by having a small filler on each side, just to get that little bit of extra space so that you've got the room to make everything open. Coupled with that, there are allowable variations to a dimension that the cabinet companies build their cabinets to. Typically they suggest about a 1/16 of an inch. Well, if you have 6 cabinets in a run of cabinets up between 2 walls, that could end up at that's 6/16 or 3/8 of an inch difference in the overall dimension, and that can really raise havoc, especially if it winds up being 3/8 of an inch too wide and you've designed your cabinets to fit exactly between 2 walls.
You explained to me the concept about designing in or not designing in a blind corner situation. Could you touch on that a little bit?
So a blind corner is where you have 2 walls that come together and your cabinets have to turn a 90-degree corner. And this is something that I wish was a little different from the cabinet manufacturers, but you can purchase blind corner cabinets that have a door or drawers on one side, and then it's just a blank panel on the other side where the run of cabinets butts into.
On the adjacent wall.
On the adjacent wall, correct.
Okay.
So the cabinets come in standard cabinet dimensions, like a 36-inch, a 39-inch, or a 42-inch wide cabinet. But to actually put a 36-inch blind corner cabinet in, you really need 39 inches because you have to pull it away from the adjacent wall to allow room for the doors and the drawers to open. And so your cabinet will say 36 inches, but you actually need 39 inches. And for this reason, you need to make those adjustments, or else you could put the cabinet in so it's using only 36 inches of wall space, but you will never be able to open the door or the drawers.
What keeps running through my mind is just the value of an experienced, caring cabinet designer. So if I'm you or a designer at Dunn, does the software I use prompt me? Or is that something you just need to know?
That's something you need to know. The software does not prompt you. My personal favorite is to use like a Lazy Susan in a corner because that is already built at a 90-degree angle to each other. The 2 ends are 90 degrees to each other. And you can then stack cabinets on each end without having to worry about are things going to open. And it makes really good use of the corner, the inside corner.
You touch base on appliances with respect to their fridge, but how about there's ranges in there, there's dishwashers. I'm assuming there's strategy when and how floorings go in and countertops? Are there any
So,
things to be aware of there?
ranges and dishwashers, it's not a problem. If dishwashers 24 inches is really the standard, you can give a 24-inch space and you're going to be able to fit that dishwasher in.
Same for a range.
Same for a range. If you buy a 30-inch range, it's going to fit. If you buy a 36-inch range, it's going to fit.
Okay.
Where you get into some of the difficulty is especially with dishwashers today. A lot of the manufacturers, to increase the capacity of the dishwasher, what they've done is they've lowered the pump and everything, so that it's really critical that you have that 34.5 inches of space between the finished floor and the bottom of the countertop, or else you won't be able to slide your dishwasher in. So if you set your cabinets on the subfloor, and then you come in and put wood flooring in there, or even tile flooring, you may not be able to slide your dishwasher in when it's all said and done. So you need to account for that. If you're setting your cabinets before your flooring goes in, your finished flooring goes in, then you need to space those cabinets up to make sure that there's room to be able to slide your appliances in.
One thing I didn't realize was even available was range hood cabinets, these big range hood cabinets, which is cool, if that's what you want in your design. But I know we've talked about the challenges of people possibly going out and buying their own guts or hood or liner, I guess, going inside.
So what you're talking about is what's called a wood hood. And it's in the right situation, they are gorgeous. But it actually becomes the focal point of your kitchen because you've got just this beautiful cabinetry above your range. The second component of that is what's called the liner, also known as the fan or the blower. There's multiple different names. And this is where you can get into trouble because if you're supplying your own liner, you have to make sure it's going to fit in this wood hood cabinet. My recommendation is to use the corresponding liners from the cabinet companies because they've confirmed that those liners are going to fit. Okay. They use higher end liners or blowers. They're commercial grade, so they are going to be a little more expensive than what you can find.
Nice quality.
But I mean, they will suck small kids and pets up the vent when you turn them on full.
Put the cookie sheet on the bottom and have it go.
That's about it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Another thing to keep in mind that when you do something like that, our building code today says that if it's over 400 CFM or 400 cubic feet per minute, you also have to supply makeup air, automated makeup air that has a damper that opens when you turn the hood on. The manufacturers of the hoods that the liners that go into our cabinets have those additional parts that you can order that are designed to work with their hoods, where some of the less expensive manufacturers don't have those products available.
Thank you for bringing that up. People build this amazing kitchen and they want to have this big hood, big commercial hood. Maybe they need it for what they're doing, or it's just something they want to show off, but they don't realize the potential effects. Because like I say, if you don't have that makeup air, it's going to pull air. And it's where it pulls. So it might pull it out of your crawl space where we know what can go on down there. It might pull it out of your garage where you've got fuels or paints or chemicals. So those things get pulled into your indoor air environment. So thank you for bringing that up. Last thing I wanted to touch on here was kind of falls into that apples to oranges thing. And I always think of, we live in the Northwest where it's very wet and people still build projects and paint projects. And I often chuckle to myself and think, how many months a year can you really get a quality paint project done in the Pacific Northwest? It's not that many, but we still paint 12 months a year usually. Yeah. So with respect to finishes on cabinets, cabinetry, could you talk a little bit about factory versus field applied, maybe with respect to quality and also potential to even get close to doing it right in the field, what it would take?
So if you do a manufacturer applied finish today, they are all a catalyzed product. They're baked on. It's multiple coats. In the case of one of our suppliers, they start by sealing the wood. It goes up into an oven and is baked. It comes back down. They put the color coat on. It goes back up into the oven and is cooked. It comes back down, and then they put a finish coat, a clear coat on top, and they actually do 2 clear coats. So it goes up as baked, comes back down. They put the second clear coat on. It goes back up in the oven and is baked again. All of this product is a catalyzed product, so just super hard when it's done. If you were to get that and smooth, and you have your choice of different gloss levels depending on what you're looking for. So if you were to try and duplicate this finish in the field, one, you're going to be really hard pressed to find products that will be as hard as what these commercial coatings are. Durability wise, correct.
Yeah.
But to get that nice, smooth, sprayed on look, you're going to need to mask the entire set of cabinets off. You're going to need to pull the drawers out of the cabinets. You're going to need to take the doors off the cabinets so that you can spray the boxes. And then the drawers and the doors, you're going to have to take into another room and set up a spray booth there so that you can, because you can't spray those in place. And then you have to reassemble everything after it's had time to dry. I can assure you it will cost you more to do a site applied finish, and it's not going to be as good in my opinion.
Yeah. When you're on an existing construction site, we all know how dusty and nutty that can get at times. So,
and so with the especially now with the cabinet companies doing color matching, that was the main impetus for doing site applied finishes, if they had a special color that they wanted to match. Today, that's really not the case. You can just send that color up to the cabinet company, and they will color match that for you.
Yeah, that's great advice. I'm glad we covered that. Thank you, sir.